What's going on, everybody? This is Jonathan from Sad Birds Fan News, and we're going to talk about some of the coaching hires that happened in the past weeks or so, because they just got filled out either today or yesterday. Dennis Allen recently got hired, and that filled up the last spot. So 9 new spots were open. It was a pretty wide open race for head coach. 9 spots, which is just a lot of head coaching spots available. A lot of people were fired, which leaves a lot of opportunities for people to have an opportunity to coach. So I just want to go through it a little bit, and I want to talk more about Brian Flores and that whole thing. But first, I'll just go through the list and tell you my opinions of the coach and how I think he'll fit the team and all that. And then I'll get into the nitty gritty of all the other stuff. All right. So Dennis Allen just recently hired. I think it's a solid hire. I mean, he led their defense for the past however many years, and they've been keeping that team decent. Whether they've had their carousel of quarterbacks or an old Drew Brees, he knows the team. The defense is absolutely dominant. Makes sense. Brian Dable, there's some shady stuff going on around the hiring, which I'll talk about. But great hire, unfortunately for the Giants. He was the offensive coordinator for the Bills. Also worked under Belichick in New England. I think he sees a lot of similarities with Daniel Jones and Josh Allen, which is definitely up for debate. But he loves a running quarterback. I think if anyone's going to do something with Daniel Jones, it'll be him. So, not a bad hire at all. Matt Eberflus, I think I'm saying that right, of the Chicago Bears. I wanted a more offensive guy for the Bears because their defense is good. Their defense has rarely ever been the problem throughout history. It's always been the offense which has been the weak point. So you would think they would get an offensive-minded guy in there. I was thinking Doug Peterson because he just had so many connections with Chicago. And then you wanted to develop Justin Fields, who's a young guy who needs developing. So it was he's not terrible. He's all right. Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, this was a purely Aaron Rodgers move. He doesn't wow me. He doesn't amaze me. He wasn't. Matt LaFleur was doing a lot of the play calling, for the Packers. So when he was offensive coordinator, I'm not sure what. I don't know. It just seemed like a try hard hire to try to get Rodgers. I don't know. I guess we'll see with this one. I don't know too much about him, but I wasn't wowed by this hire. Mike McDaniel of the Dolphins. I like it. He's a young guy. He's under the Matt Shanahan tree. Which is kind of crazy he's a tree because he's young himself. But he'll get a very good run game for Tua to be more comfortable playing. I think he'll be good for Tua, and to maximize that talent over there in Miami. I don't think they should have fired Flores. I think that was. We'll get into that. That was terrible. But we got Josh McDaniels. Bad hire. First of all, Patriots. It's all Belichick there. Josh McDaniels. He knows football. Okay. This man shows me everything what a leader shouldn't be. I wanted them to keep Bisaccia, because the players loved him, everyone loved him there. Keep Bisaccia in there. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Josh McDaniels, if you remember a few years back, before Frank Reich got the job, he got hired for the Colts head coaching job, and at the last minute backed out to go back to Belichick. And that's just not what you want in a head coaching guy. It's just he's bringing his own team over. It's just it's not a good vibe coming from Josh McDaniels. Doug Peterson, I love the hire. I love Doug Peterson. I think that if anyone's going to do something with Trevor Lawrence, I think he's the perfect guy because you saw what he did Carson's second year. Doug Peterson doesn't get enough credit for revolutionizing the game. People are going to be, oh, what are you talking like? No one was going for it on fourth down at the high rate until Doug Peterson started doing it. Then it started catching on, and now it's like a normal thing. Doug Peterson started that. Another thing he did is people didn't like when at the opening coin toss they would ask to receive, but Doug Peterson started the normal thing of why are you asking to get the ball first? Like get it at the half so you can get more momentum. Just stuff like that. And then Lovie Smith. I like Lovie. I just feel like there were better options for the Texans. I thought Brian Flores. He should have been for any of these places except the Bears because they needed an offensive minded guy. I mean, he's been to the Super Bowl. He has experience. He's also had some bad years, but I mean, it's not a terrible hire. I wasn't expecting his name to come back up. Oh, and then we have Kevin O'Connell for the Vikings, Rams offensive coordinator. It's all right. I mean, it was obviously Sean. Whenever I see a guy coming from a team with like a strong offensive minded coach, I mean Belichick's not like more defensive guy, but it still counts because he's Belichick. But like Sean McVay, it hesitates because like I know that they're the brains of the offense, but like I know this guy. I mean, he's perfectly qualified. I think he's a solid hire. So that was a lot of time on that. I didn't mean to go that deep into it, but let's just get into the Brian Flores lawsuit. Well, first of all, the preface. The name I mentioned, I had 3 candidates coming into the coaching hires: Jim Caldwell, Eric Bieniemy, Brian Flores. 3 black coaches that deserved the job that did not get a job, that did not. A lot of them received very little consideration. Jim Caldwell, if you remember, he coached the Lions to playoff appearances, multiple of them, and he got fired after a winning season, and now he hasn't had a job since, which is just ridiculous. Eric Bieniemy, 4 straight AFC Championship games, helped develop Patrick Mahomes to be the greatest quarterback, one of the greatest quarterback talents we've ever seen. And he just, I think one team talked to him for like a minute. And then Brian Flores, he shouldn't have been fired in the first place. And he's a defensive guru genius. It's just like, I've never seen something so blatant. Because like, all of these 9 guys, now I'm not, I shouldn't have to say this, but it's not a dock on any of them. But these guys are clearly better. These guys are better than a lot of the coaches that are coaching here today. You got guys like Mike McCarthy still coaching when he's obviously like a coach that should have stayed in the 10 years past. Like the game has evolved. It's like, it's just bad. It's bad. So Brian Flores kind of was fed up. And he sued the NFL. I have the statements up and everything. So yeah, he sued the NFL February 1st. February 1st when he sued the NFL. His attorney said, on the first day of Black History Month, it is our greatest privilege to represent Brian Flores in his class action complaint against the NFL. This case seeks to level the playing field in the hope that future owners and coaches will be representative of the athletes who are playing this great game. We fully expect coaches and players of all races to support Brian as he embarks on his journey to create positive change. And then the NFL immediately followed with, the NFL and our clubs are deeply committed to ensuring equitable and employment practices and continue to make progress in providing equitable opportunities throughout our organizations. Diversity is core to everything we do, and there are few issues on which our club and our internal leadership team spent more time. We will defend against these claims which are without merit. So they said it was a blame push, like, we're covering all our bases. We've done all this. We've put end racism on the back of the end zones on the we've, which is like pretty minimal stuff to just put names on anything. They've done other stuff, but it's just like to say that you're on top of everything when you're getting a serious claim like this. It's not a good look for the NFL at all. So yeah, and they said without merit. Well, we have some merit. I'll probably put these up on the screen. There were screenshots from Bill Belichick texting Brian Flores, and he was basically congratulating Brian Flores on the Giants job, but he had the same. He probably, like an old man does, had just two Brians on his phone, Brian Dable and Brian Flores, and texted the wrong Brian. And then this was before Brian Flores even interviewed, I believe. Yeah. Because he said, I interviewed on Thursday. I think I have a shot at it. And then Bill said, got it. I hear from Buffalo, New York that you are the guy. Hope it works out. Which is like, first of all, Buffalo, Brian Flores isn't even from Buffalo. So there's probably red flags going up there. But basically from all this, as I go off on my tangent, the Giants already knew that Daboll was going to be their guy. So they were just interviewing Brian Flores for basically just to interview him. Which brings me to the Rooney Rule, which was enacted in 2003. Now, Dan Rooney was the owner, I believe, of the Steelers, great owner. They made a rule named after him in 2003 that you have to interview like two candidates of minority for each executive and coaching position. Which in theory, maybe it's a good idea, but it became a checklist, right? Let's just get these guys out of the way so we can hire who we really want, which was really messed up. And that's what is clearly happening with the Giants and Brian Flores. They knew Daboll was their guy. They were just doing what they had to do, interviewing Flores, which is just kind of gross, because I don't even know why you do that, because Flores is clearly an amazing coach. It's just, and I'm not gonna, as much as I'd love bashing the Giants, I can't just bash the Giants because it's not only the Giants. You see teams do this time after time. There is John Elway with Brian Flores the first time he was getting hired. I heard a story. I watched an interview with Brian Flores. He was on the ESPN show Get Up. I encourage you to watch that interview. It was like a 20-minute interview. He was there with his attorneys, and it was very well spoken. But basically, the Broncos interview with him, you can tell the people that were interviewing Flores were out partying last night. They were drunk. They weren't taking it seriously. They were just there because they had to be, because they felt they had to be. So they never really considered Brian Flores for the job. It's just time and time again. It's just a constant cycle of this, and it's an issue. It's an issue, and like I said, not all every team, has been guilty of this. Look at the Eagles. Now, this wasn't official, but Deuce Staley. So last year when we were hiring our guys, Deuce Staley was our running back / assistant coach. And the team loved him. Like, past Eagles players were saying how much he deserved the job. Eagles players were saying how much he deserves the job. and you weren't really hearing about like interviewing until they started like the big interviews came in, like we had Nick Sirianni. I forget who else interviewed, and then there was like they talked to Deuce Staley and said he wasn't going to get the job. So like they interviewed him and then checked him off the list. It seems, which is just like I wanted Deuce Staley to have the job. I thought he would have been great with the offense. I thought he would have been great with Jalen Hurts, providing him a good run game, which is what Sirianni eventually did. Sirianni's doing a great job, but I'm saying I think Deuce Staley could have been more heavy into consideration for the job. Back to Brian Flores and the Dolphins exit. That was really not good. So Brian Flores gets the job in Miami, and he's basically there for like a bridge coach. Like it's not. It's like from what I've been getting, I could be wrong. They weren't getting him to be their coach for that would lead them to a Super Bowl, because Stephen Ross, the Dolphins owner, wanted to tank for like Tua or Trevor or whoever was there. The goal was to tank. And he hired Brian Flores and said, I need you to lose games. And he not only said that, he said, I will pay you an incentive of $100,000 for each game you lose. Each game you lose. He was paying to lose so he could get the quarterback he wanted. And Brian Flores like, that is not my way. That is not what I do. That is not this is like terrible stuff, terrible treatment from Flores while he was a coach and while he's trying to get a coaching job. And he sues the NFL for these clear accusations that the NFL say are without merit. And he's possibly risking himself ever being able to coach again. If he doesn't, people like will say, "Oh," and he wants change. He wants change. But I don't want him to be a martyr. I don't want him to like give up his job. I want change, but I don't want it to be the cost of his job. He deserves to have a head coaching job. There should be change, and he should get a job because he deserves it. He shouldn't be a martyr for being brave and really fighting the fight that needs to be fought. He should be teams should say, this is the guy we want. This is the leader we want. Let's not let this guy not have a job in a league that he 100% deserves to have a job in. He's shown it. He's proven it. Yeah, it just bothered me. It bothered me seeing countless just white coach after white coach get hired this year. Just 9 spots. And then you had Lovie Smith, and then I'm going to forget names because I'm not good with names. Mike McDaniel is biracial. But then the other 7 white across the board. When Jim Caldwell, Eric Bieniemy, Brian Flores, all better than a lot of the guys in the league. A change got to happen, and it needs to start with ownership, because the owners, it's old white guys up there, right? There's not going to be a lot of change. You can't expect them to change because they've been doing the same thing for 40 years. 40, 50, 60 years. But change needs to happen. And I hope that this lawsuit really, I hope he wins. And even if he doesn't win, I hope the NFL is like, you know what? We got to fix, this is an issue, because this is going to keep happening. And I hope Brian Flores from that gets a job. Again, I don't want him to do this courageous act of stepping up and fighting this fight and then not getting a job. That's not what should happen. He needs a job. So I could go on, but that's basically how I feel about the issue. You guys let me know in the comments. Please let me know in the comments your opinion on this issue. I would really like to know, have some conversation with people. let me know if I was wrong about anything. I spewed off a lot of facts that were, I have like notes and stuff, but some stuff were off the top of my head. So let me know if I missed anything, said anything incorrect. Because you know I want to get this right. But yeah, like I said in the end last video, if there's anything you want me to talk about, um, football, Eagles, doesn't matter. Hey, heck, basketball, I don't care. Let me know and I can talk about it. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure to subscribe, drop a like, and let me know what you think. All right, peace out.